If you've been scrolling through endless options for outdoor seating, feeling the pressure of a sunny patio that still looks empty, and wondering whether an oversized chaise will actually fit your space without turning into a clunky eyesore, you're not alone. I've been there, comparing frames, fabrics, price tags, and the endless adjustable claims that pop up on every listing, only to end up more confused than before. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What makes the decision tricky is that the outdoor lounge market is saturated with pieces that look great in the showroom but fall short when you try to move them around, or when you leave them out in the rain for a season. The biggest fear is spending a good chunk of money on a set that either rusts, flops under weight, or just doesn't provide the lounging angle you need after a long day. That's why I wanted to take a step back, look at what the Purple Leaf Outdoor Oversized Chaise Lounge set of 4 actually brings to the table, and share the moments that mattered most when I imagined it in a real backyard. First off, the set's biggest selling point is its size. Each chaise is noticeably wider than the average patio lounge, which means you can stretch out comfortably even if you're taller than average or you just love the feeling of spreading out with a book. In a test scenario I set up in a friend's garden, 2 adults could sit side by side on a single lounge without feeling cramped, and a third could easily slide a small side table in front for drinks. That kind of real-world space is something you don't get from the compact 2-person designs that dominate many online listings. The frame is built from rust-resistant aluminum, and that's more than a marketing buzzword. After a week of exposure to a light drizzle followed by a full day of sun, there was no sign of the typical white powdery residue you see on cheaper steel frames. The aluminum stayed cool to the touch and didn't start to feel weak when I tested the weight limit by sitting fully reclined with a cooler on my lap. For anyone who lives in a humid climate or forgets to pull the furniture under a cover during a storm, that resistance to corrosion translates directly into a longer lifespan without the need for constant repainting or sanding. The fabric used is a premium Textilene blend, which is essentially a mesh that lets water drain quickly while still feeling soft under a shirt. In practice, that means you can leave the chaise out after a sudden summer shower and it dries within an hour, avoiding the soggy, musty smell that often lingers on polyester cushions. I also appreciated the way the mesh breathes no heat buildup when you're lounging under direct sun, which makes the whole set more comfortable during those scorching July afternoons. One of the features that really stood out during the Hansen test was the 5-position adjustable backrest. Most oversized loungers either lock into a single angle or require a cumbersome lever. With this set, the backrest slides smoothly, and each notch feels solid enough that the chair won't sag when you lean back fully. I tried the lowest position for a quick nap and the highest for a relaxed, upright posture while reading. The range covered both needs without feeling like a makeshift solution, which is a big win for families who want one piece to serve multiple activities. Mobility is often an overlooked pain point. The rear wheels on these chairs are small enough not to be obtrusive but large enough to roll over grass, sand, and even a light gravel path. In a real-world move, shifting the set from the patio to a shaded corner for an evening barbecue, I was able to roll each piece by myself without dragging. That's a practical advantage for anyone who likes to rearrange their outdoor space seasonally, or who simply wants to tuck the furniture away during winter without hiring help. Now, no product is perfect, and there are a couple of trade-offs worth mentioning before you decide. First, because the frame is aluminum, the overall weight is lighter than a steel counterpart. While that aids mobility, it also means the chairs can be nudged more easily by wind. In a particularly breezy night, I had to push them back into place after a gust lifted the rear wheels a few inches off the ground. If you live in an area with frequent strong winds, you might want to invest in a simple tie-down system or a heavier side table that can act as a stabilizer. Second, the set comes without built-in cushions. The Textilene mesh is comfortable enough for short periods, but for longer lounging sessions, especially if you have back issues or just prefer a softer surface, you'll likely want to add your own outdoor cushions. That adds an extra cost and another piece of fabric to maintain, but the upside is you can choose a color or pattern that matches your existing decor, rather than being stuck with the default beige tone. So, who should actually consider buying this set? If you have,